President Donald Trump says he intends to withdraw the United States from its 30-year-old Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty with the Russians, a treaty which he sees as an outdated constraint on our defense options and one which the Russians routinely violate in any case. So, how did we get here, and what will scrapping this treaty mean? In 1977, the Soviet Union had rolled out its new SS-20, a big upgrade on its existing missile systems. This thing was mobile, easy to hide, carried multiple nuclear warheads to hit multiple targets, and while its range brought it in just underneath the strategic arms limitation treaties then in place, the SS-20 nevertheless exposed most of Western Europe to a new theoretical threat of Soviet attack. Well, this made the Germans nervous in particular, and since Germany represented the front line in the Cold War, they wanted a U.S. response. And the Americans had one. Martin Marietta's Pershing II. Mobile, concealable, very accurate, very slick. It would match the Russians' move if it were deployed. But at the same time, the Pentagon and NATO ministers realized this wasn't moving in a good direction for anybody. If the deployment of the Pershing II was the stick, they also offered the Soviet Union a carrot, in the form of bilateral negotiations to start removing some of these weapons. Now, those talks took years, there were many stops and starts, but finally, in 1987, President Ronald Reagan and Soviet General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev signed the INF Treaty, which resulted in the dismantling of thousands of the medium-range nuclear warheads we'd had pointed at each other. Now, the truth is, the Americans and the Russians have accused one another of violating the INF Treaty for years, and since it only governs these two countries and does nothing to limit the growth of weapons stockpiles in, say, China or Iran, President Donald Trump isn't the first American leader to suggest that the agreement has outlived its usefulness. But there was a time when weapons such as these appeared to have the world very close to the brink of nuclear war. At the time it was signed, the INF Treaty represented a big step back from that brink. The U.S. already has plans in place to upgrade its missiles once the treaty's dead, and the Russians have promised to respond. Unless some agreement materializes to replace INF, we could find the Cold War history of American and Russian nuclear brinkmanship repeating itself.